The number one sneaky money blocker is this fear that shows up in the most cunning, manipulative, unassuming ways that if we don't dig through it and point out these various intricacies of this fear, it'll continue to control you and continue to block you blindly from the abundance that you want. And that is the fear of being seen. It's the fear of being exposed, the fear of being judged. It all comes down to the fear of visibility. And I've got it too. We're going to unpack this in this incredible series that starts today.
If you're tired of hearing the same old basic mindset and motivational fluff talk, you've come to the right show. Welcome to Project Me with Tiffany Carter, the podcast, where we dish on everything from managing that crazy brain of yours to manifesting abundance to my straightforward, actionable steps that will make you major money online. Now, I'm not your typical multimillionaire entrepreneur. It takes a small village to keep my anxiety and depression in check. I'm inherently disorganized with an intense obsession with office supplies. Your girl here is a digital marketing content expert who's generated over $200 million in sales. I promise by tuning in twice a week, you will get a much needed refreshing dose of truth, clarity, and cash making advice. Now let's get to it.
What up, my people, my posse, my fellow crazies? This is the show that is going to help you grow your business, your bank account, that big, beautiful brain of yours, your abundance, your relationships, and everything in between. And I'm your host, Tiffany Carter. Doing the research and sitting and getting the divine downloads so that I can speak with the most clarity and the most information to help you dig through this fear that if you're shaking your head, oh, I don't have this, I'm confident. This isn't about confidence. This is so much deeper than that. I've not worked with one person that doesn't have this on some level. And I've coached over 150,000 people worldwide, not to mention I've employed and managed and trained, when we go back to my corporate life, thousands and thousands of people. Even people who you wouldn't think would have this fear of being seen, this fear of visibility, that wouldn't have a visibility cap, as I call it. You are listening and perhaps watching, hey, YouTubers, someone who has it, and that is me. The difference is that I work through it, and then we get to a new level, and then I have more work to do and more work to do. But I was going around not realizing I had this. Like, how could I possibly have this? I'm a professionally trained TV newscaster. My face is all over the interwebs. I'm podcasting. I speak in front of crowds of tens of thousands of people. I don't have a fear of public speaking at all, which, fun fact, 40% of people, according to all the research, have a fear of public speaking. And I don't think it's really the fear of public speaking. That's way too surface, and we don't do surface shit here on the show. It's actually the fear of being seen. It's the visibility. It's being exposed, all those eyes on you. So this needs to be uncovered in more than one episode so that it's in digestible chunks. So I have broken this up so you can take in so much of it at a time, and then maybe re-listen to the episode, share it with people who come to your mind so you can discuss it, and then allow yourself like processing time, whatever that is. You got to go do a TJ Maxx run, which I'm prepping for a photo shoot, people, over on Instagram at ProjectME with Tiffany. Anytime I'm prepping for a new brand shoot, and I do these mega brand shoots because, quite frankly, I don't love having my picture taken. I've just gotten to a space where that kind of exposure and being seen and visibility, I have found a way to navigate through that. And I'm going to take you through some of these things so you can have results. And this doesn't have to take years and years of work, but some things do take more time. but I share all the shenanigans and the things I order. And then I have stuff made, and then I need your opinion because I'm like, is this cheesy? Is this weird? Is this disgusting? Is this ugly? And I like you guys helping me out. So if you're interested in seeing behind the scenes of the operations around here at ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, the podcast and business coaching academy, follow us over. Us meaning me and my other personalities at ProjectME with Tiffany, and TikTok at ProjectME with Tiffany. And you can now watch the show on YouTube. And some of you are right now. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, comment below as you're watching, as you're listening to these episodes, because that's going to help some of you really cement in more of the material. It's a really helpful way to learn. If you're someone who doesn't necessarily want to sit there and like take notes, you can do that too. But go and check it out on YouTube. Apparently, you guys are loving actually being able to hear me and see me on the tube. So we're going to be doing some extra exclusive fun stuff over on ProjectME TV for you all. And do not forget to do this, because we are about to end my big gift giveaway. And that is to get my Work Less While Making More workbook. This is my first workbook that I've released publicly. I do workbooks with my programs, like you have to be in my program or in my mastermind in order to get it. This is a standalone workbook that is coming with something very special, and I don't want to give it away yet. So it's not simply a workbook. Not that that's enough, because everything I do, I don't put anything out there that I wouldn't be super excited to buy myself, but you can get it for free right now as long as you leave an Apple Podcast written review of the show. Put your name or Instagram, TikTok handle in the review. It doesn't matter. I know some of you don't want to put like your full name for privacy reasons, or maybe the fear of being seen, and that's okay. We need to have some way to identify you to cross-reference. Take a screenshot of it and email it to us at support@projectmewithtiffany.com. You can swipe up. Those instructions are right in the show notes. They're also in the description here on YouTube. Or if you are multitasking and you're like, oh my God, I'll never remember that email, Tiffany, you can DM it to me, but you will receive a reply back that gives you the email to send it to. And then once the giveaway and this whole fun thing is done, we will email it to you. Or you can wait and pay for this workbook program. It's really a workbook program because it's not just a workbook. That's like the big hint. But I don't know why you would do that when you can take 30 seconds, show your appreciation for the show. This helps our show grow. Sharing this episode or episodes that you think will resonate with friends of yours, your partner, people in your family, people who work for you, whatever. That also really helps the show grow. So please pass it on. Do this so you can get the damn workbook and you can start seeing some great results in your life. This is my gift to you. Okay. Now we got all that fun stuff out of the way. Whew. This is a heavy topic. This is another piece of content, a video I did that went viral on TikTok. And that's the beautiful thing about putting out pieces of content. You can see what really resonates and really strikes a chord. And I do so much and invest so much in my own personal development. I have 2 coaches and a therapist. Sometimes I have 3 coaches at a time. Technically, right now I have 3 because I also have a fitness coach, which he is, I think he's turning 65 years old. This man has 30 years of experience and wisdom in training many, many retired athletes. Where I live at the beach, there's a lot of professional athletes that are currently in sports, but also a lot of retired athletes. And there's a lot of anything we do involves mental stuff. And if we are just simply focusing on getting our body stronger so we can run faster, or learning this technique or that technique, or putting out more content and doing this thing and learning this strategy so we can make more money, that's all important. But if we are not diving deep into these wild brains of ours and uncovering where these blocks are, where our resistance is, and learning how to work through it, you're screwed. Or what's going to happen is it'll come up, which is what happened to me. And that's what I wanted to start with here, is that it'll come up in the form of something really ugly. You'll be spiraling and go, oh my God, what's going on with me? What is this? Like, I need help navigating this. So here's the backstory of where I had this major aha moment on, oh my God, it is actually about the fear of being seen, which is really about feeling exposed. It's that fear of being so highly visible that it reads as dangerous in our nervous systems, like, ooh, alert, alert, alert. Something bad's going to happen. Oh my God, I'm going to get canceled, or everyone's going to hate me, or people are going to find out that I'm actually like a total weirdo, or I don't really actually have my shit together, or oh, I'm going to have people talking behind my back. And then it even goes deeper than that. Then it's, I'm going to be abandoned. I'm going to be alone. I'm going to be destitute. Seriously. And when we're talking about this on the surface right now, it sounds like, well, God, I mean, that seems, it's a little dramatic. Obviously, our higher selves know that's not fully true. So what? So what? Yeah, feelings aren't facts. We know that. But if we are in a fear response, a high resistance response, your nervous system is telling you all signals, all nerve endings, all things going on, firing in your brain, your hormones, everything is saying, don't do this. This is not good. This is not safe. And then you have your ego yelling at you. And then you have your inner bully yelling at you. That higher self voice of yours becomes a tiny little bit. It's snuffed out by all this other stuff. That higher self voice in my recovery program I'm in for being raised in a highly dysfunctional, toxic family, we call it a loving parent. Like the higher, softer, loving voice that comes out when our nervous system is calmer. When we are in a high alert, it's like you got all the guards on deck. Everyone is up. And that is who is running your show. And your ego has a purpose. Your ego is there to point out danger. Like, nah, Tiff, I know you want to go in the ocean today because they're saying this hurricane is coming. And I'm laughing because I know the show is airing on Monday in a couple days, but if you looked right now, this like Hurricane Hillary, and I'm not, it's obviously real. But like you look outside right now, it's like calm ocean, beautiful blue skies, a lovely breeze. I have the windows open. I'm looking at the waves. I can smell that ocean air. But if I go scan the ocean like these surfers do here, and I want to go in and I see like, oh, there's a lot of riptides. Yeah, that's good. Your ego's assessing for danger. Yeah, not a good idea to go in today. Don't go in today, right? But when we are ignited and that ego is ignited, wow, it colors everything. It starts not even making sense. It's delusional. It's like a child having a tantrum. And no matter what you're doing to try to calm that child down, to soothe that child, to distract that child out of this tantrum in the middle of a grocery store, when people are thinking you're like the world's worst parent and everyone is looking at you and nothing is working, nothing's going to work at that moment with that child until they've cycled through all of that energy. So if you are in a spot where you don't know what has you so frozen, you feel like everything feels confusing, everything feels overwhelming, you even feel stuck, you're not sure what to do, or you often find yourself in this state, you are distracting yourself with things that you really know are not moving the needle in the areas of your life where you want to have more success. whether that's your business, whether that's money, your relationship, your body, your personal development, whatever it may be. You're binge watching Netflix, you are cooking incessantly, you're playing video games, you're fixated on something about your skin that you need to have fixed. I used to organize my sock drawer, and I don't even really wear socks that often because that felt easier, because that was something I could at least complete when all the sea of overwhelm is coming up in these other areas. So if you're noticing yourself doing those things, or you often do those things, that is a big sign that you have reached a visibility cap. So what happened to me, I think this was about March of this year. So 2023, because I know people are listening to this many years after this has come out. I decided to go all in on TikTok. I was not an early adopter of that platform. I don't feel like you have to be an early adopter of anything. That's a whole nother topic for another day. Went all in on it, very quickly went mega viral. What I mean by that is, for reference, about 740 followers to about 43,000 in 48 hours. And now we're at like 100,000 or something. That is a lot. And it coincided with me launching my Abundance League Business Mastermind, which is by application only. And some people could say, oh my God, what a great thing. Well, yes, it is a great thing, but not to my nervous system, because what happened is we got hundreds of applications. These were not people who were familiar with me. So a lot of these applications were people who were just trying to pick my brain, energy vampires. Basically, all the shit that I feared came true of why I was resisting TikTok. I didn't know why I was resisting TikTok. It's the same thing that goes on with me writing a book. And I know many of you have emailed and written in, like, does Tiffany have a book we don't know about? When is she coming out with a book? And I so appreciate that. That really does help me to hear that you really want that. And that's why I'm also starting with this workbook experience, because at least I'm peeling off the Band-Aid. But I have the same resistance when it comes to like a full-fledged book, because of the visibility cap. It's like, I know how successful it's going to be. And I have this fear beneath it that, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to handle it. It's going to be too much. I'm going to have all these people coming at me at once and pulled in so many directions, and I'm going to burn out, and I'm going to combust into an area of dust. And then when we even pull it back further, because that's still too surface. This is what I do with inside my mastermind and with my private clients and in my ProjectME Posse business coaching membership, which right now, and it's about to end, we have an August flash bonus sale where you get my content creation made easy course bundle. That's $297 for free as a new member. We have a handful of new member spots left. This membership is not something where you're going to get lost in the masses where there's thousands of people in it. For me to keep the integrity of calling it a business coaching membership where you get weekly live trainings from me and other special guest experts on money blocks, on abundance, and then on actual strategy on how to start and grow your business from zero, from scratch, to $15,000 a month consistently. And you get a library of over 300 prior live trainings, live Q&A, collaboration with one another. You guys go on each other's podcasts, do Instagram lives together. It's an incredible, incredible membership, which is why it's famous and it's been around so many years and so successful. But I keep it at an intimate size so you also feel supported, you feel heard, and you feel accountable. Like, we notice when you're not there. And it's only $3.33 a day. So go to projectmewithtiffany.com/projectme posse. If the page says full, then you just need to come back every day or two and refresh and see if a new spot is opened up. So make sure you go do that. Swipe up. The link is also inside the show notes, and it's in the notes on YouTube as well. And you have a month-to-month option, because I know there's some of you who have been burned before by like subscriptions and stuff and don't want and are commitment phobic. Hello, been engaged 3 times, never married. And then there's others of you who are about a deal, which I'm also that person. So if you commit to yourself to join for a year, which is very smart, because what you're saying is, I'm committing to give this a year. I'm not about some quick fix. I know I'm going to get some great results in the short term, but I'm going to commit to myself, to my business, to doing this for a year. There's an annual option where you save even more money. That's insane. And that's also inside that link. So I'd love to see you in there. We are doing a lot of live coaching on this kind of stuff inside my Posse membership. So you want to take this to the next level. That is absolutely the place for you to go, aside from leaving that written Apple Podcast review to get my Work Less While Making More workbook for free. So the digging of it all, where we're using me as an example, man, I have a fear that I will be destitute and I'll lose everything. I don't have a backup plan. I'm my own backup plan. I don't have a rich husband. I don't receive a check from somebody. No shame in the game for those of you who do. That's great. I don't have that. My only living family member is my mother, who's a narcissist, who I'm no contact with. I have no other relatives, period. There is no one else. It's me and my bank account. That's my backup plan, and God and the universe. Okay. And so I get a fear. I go into a place of like, I need certainty. I need certainty. Well, nothing is certain in life. Nothing is certain in business. Nothing is certain in love. There isn't certainty. But I want certainty. I want certainty. And if I don't have that certainty of what's going to happen, and I have a crystal ball, which obviously none of us have, then I get afraid that I'm going to get so overwhelmed and so inundated by all the attention, all the requests, people's energy being pulled in all these directions, that I won't be able to handle it, and that I'll lose everything that I've worked my ass off over all of these years, blood, sweat, and tears to build this thing. And I won't have anything. And then I won't have the energy to come back again, because I've already lost it all before. And I built it all back up again many times over. But I know what that takes. And I can tell you, I don't have it in me right now. Please note this, universe. I don't have it in me. So it scares me. Now I can make a choice of staying in that fear. But I had to do work around this to be able to get my nervous system to a state where not only my brain believed I was safe in going all in on the TikTok land, but that my body felt safe. Our body keeps score, right? You may have heard of that book. And our issues are stored in our tissues. This stems back from childhood. There's an absolute clear, so to speak, dotted line. If you go back to your childhood on where this fear of being seen and fear of visibility stands from. It also could have come from a significant toxic relationship, even in your adult life. Maybe you were married to an addict. Maybe you were in a relationship with a narcissist. Maybe you had all the above, like me. Well, I wasn't married, but lots of toxic people, because I had lots of toxicity in my childhood, and these people felt familiar to me. They felt normal to me. They didn't read as red flags. It actually felt comfortable. Thank you. Not anymore, but that took work. So what happened is, in my childhood, the more quiet I was, the more under the radar I was, the more I wasn't seen or heard or noticed, the safer I was. Because I never knew what I was going to get in that house. I was always pissing her off. If I shined too bright, and outshined her as a narcissist, that didn't end well for me. If I didn't shine bright enough, that also didn't end well because then I didn't make her look good. And so is this like sliding scale, and I never knew. And my nervous system was exhausted from always trying. And here I'm like 5, 6, 10, 14, 17 years old. It's like, that's a lot. So what's easier? It's easier to stay small, to stay dim, to stay out of the way, leave me alone. I remember there's no better feeling for me, and I still can get this feeling. There's no better feeling for me as a kid to be able, thank God I was allowed to shut my door. I'm surprised I was allowed to shut my door, actually. That's something for me to explore, where I could go in my room and shut my door and not feel like anyone was going to come in. Or when I had the house to myself, which was rare, I was rarely left alone because then I wasn't going to be controlled, right? Very rare. When I was able to drive, oh, you best believe I did everything possible to make sure that day I turned 16, I was getting that damn driver's license. And even though that was also highly controlled, being in a car by myself, even if it was going to Starbucks, the most freeing thing. And it wasn't just because I could go to Starbucks or go anywhere. I couldn't, because my mileage was being written down. It was really, really, really overly strict, considering I was actually really good. Well, I wasn't that good, but I played by the rules, so to speak. It was that I could be alone, because being alone meant I was safe. So my nervous system exhaled in the corporate world. And when I would be traveling all over and doing these trainings and doing speaking and, going all over the place. And before I did a lot of this work where I could just come home, take off the pantsuit, take off my makeup, put on my comfy clothes. And I called it my cave. My first townhouse I owned in LA literally was like a cave inside. It was dark. It was like if you've been to the W hotels, it was like a modern darkness. It was like a modern cave. And I wanted to be alone. I still almost don't have anyone over here. It's rare. I'm very selective because my house was such chaos, and being alone meant I was safe and it felt really good. Now, that's okay to have a healthy alone time, right? That's a good thing. But then it can turn to isolation, which is a form of trying to manage your fears. But then that can go be sucked down a rabbit hole. So I want you to take a look as we're going through these episodes, and there's going to be several that are looking into this, because there's only so much of this you can digest at once, especially because for many of you, this is new. This is like a major aha, as it was for me. And I first need you to define it. Take a look at it. What is this fear? It's not public speaking. Let's go deeper than that. In the research, this is like 40% of people have a fear of public speaking. Right. And then it's something even higher. It's 8 out of 10 people have some form of social phobia. That's just very, very top level. It's not social. What's social? It's interaction. It's being seen. It's being exposed. It's being vulnerable. It's being visible. Visible and vulnerability is very tied together. I need you to unpack it and go, what is it? Ask yourself the question. What am I afraid would happen if I really put myself out there and did some of these things that I see Tiffany do, or I see some of these other people do that I would like to do? What am I afraid would happen? What am I afraid that I would lose in my life? What do I feel would be required of me that sounds terrible? And keep peeling it back. You might say, at a client say this to me that's in the posse the other day. I'm afraid that I won't be able to handle all the time commitments and the energy, and then I won't have anything left for my kids. And then I'll end up prioritizing work over my kids like my dad did with me. That's what I mean by deep. I could go even really deep with my story because my brain is wild and my brain benefits you because it's wild. But this is going to give you a peek of how many layers deeper I go and why I have to be medicated because it's a lot. It's even deeper than me being exhausted and me being destitute. The more visible I was in my childhood, in fact, the more attractive I was, the more charismatic, the more fun, the more outgoing I was, there was a direct correlation to the amount of sexual abuse I suffered and the amount of people that I got pimped out to because I became more attractive to those pedophiles. And so that's where it goes deeper is, oh, if I am truly operating and being highly visible and being myself, funny, goofy, charismatic, conversationalist, attractive, if I do that and you combine the visibility, well, look what happened to me in childhood. And that was like this microcosm. And I wasn't some public figure or like a child celebrity or anything. Look at what could happen now. That could be major danger. And that trauma is stored in my body. So what can happen for me when I'm reaching a visibility cap is there are signs that this is showing up in your physical body. So here are some of them for you to take a non-judgmental inventory of. My neck and shoulders get really tight to the point where it's like, God, what did I do? Did I do something? To where even having someone dig in them with their elbows, deep tissue, I mean, it takes that much to release it. My throat really constricts and I have a hard time opening it up. I've worked with a client for a long time who constantly is clearing her throat. And she even went and saw doctors to see if there were allergies or she had polyps or something was going on. And there was nothing. It's the fear showing up in here. It's the fear of it's not public speaking. It's if I speak my truth, if I share my genuine essence, my true self, not newscaster Tiffany, not a job interview version of myself, not a filtered version of myself, but I show up with me, with conviction, with speaking the truth, with speaking about what I want to speak about, me sharing even about family secrets in behind closed doors to a therapist or to a support group. It's you're being silenced. We silence ourselves. Our body can even silence us. I've seen people even get sick before a big event. I've had people get sick before they've come on my podcast, and I knew what was going on. So this first episode on this, I want you to dig through some of this stuff. You might want to listen to this one more time so you can write down the questions. But what we're doing here is we're defining this fear, we're exploring it and how it manifests in various aspects of your life, because it doesn't just affect one area, it affects all the areas. Are you at a visibility cap right now? Are you hitting up against resistance with something? Where are you at with it? And unveiling the childhood trauma, the link between the two, how these negative early experiences can shape your self-perception and contribute to the fear of judgment. Did your family use sarcasm and kind of mean joking and teasing and pranks? Was that a form of communication in your household? That absolutely can contribute to this fear of being seen, because truly that, even if you laughed it off in childhood and your family still does it and you still laugh it off, it doesn't feel good. It's a form of abuse. It can be an innocent form where they don't know how to communicate any differently, but you don't want, bottom line is you don't want more of it. And the more visible you are, the more you believe you're going to get more of it. Did you notice there were a lot of things being hidden in your house? When you asked for things that you needed, when you spoke up about dreams, when you spoke up about something hurt your feelings or made you angry, was that shut down? Was that ridiculed? Was that ignored? Were you in a house that was erratic, where you had very moody caregivers? You never knew what you were going to get. Well, you don't know what you're going to get. You know what? One way to keep yourself safe is to totally shut down. If you were in a relationship where someone was constantly like nitpicking at you, and there was all sorts of weird dynamics in there, we trigger people when we shine, when we get off the dimmer switch and turn that dial all the way up. We trigger people, even people who love us, even people who procreated us. Because when we shine, it casts a light on all the areas where they're not. I'm sure you all, I'm going to end with this, have had a friendship or had a business relationship or a business partner or a coworker, someone that's going to come to mind when I share this with you, where if you go to them and you're in chaos, you're having a hard day, there's drama going on in your life, they're right there. They're right there to help you. But if you're having incredible things going on and positive things and new discoveries and growth, and you're sharing that, they either don't call you back right away, they do a partial ghosting, it's not a priority to them. You can just tell energetically the conversation isn't as long, it's cut short. My mom is this way. So then I developed, when I connected the dots, part of my fear of visibility is me shining and sharing positive things and celebrating myself. So I never would celebrate myself. I would never share my accomplishments with people. When someone asked me, how's your day going? A stranger, a cashier, I used to say something negative like, oh, life's rough. I'm doing the best I can. I had a very hard time, and I still get a zing through my nervous system if I say it's great. Now, if it's not great, I'm not going to lie. But even saying it's good, or, every day I'm alive is great, or some version of that, that was very hard for me to say, because I was taught by the people in my life in my childhood and adulthood. I mean, those people aren't in my life anymore. That if I was doing good, God forbid, if I was doing great, if I was shining, if I was excelling, they didn't like it. And then they were going to abandon me, and they weren't going to like me. So then I ended up only sharing and verbalizing things when they weren't well. Think about what that teaches you. So your fear of visibility comes from shining and showcasing positive attributes about yourself, success, intellect, expertise that you've gained, that you're sharing, your strength. Some of you are hiding certain versions of yourself, and therefore you don't want to show up fake, so you just hide the whole damn thing. I'm going to leave it at there, because I know you're like, holy shit. Without a doubt, you need to share this episode with the first couple people that you think of, re-listen, take some time to go through the questions that I gave in here. I'm going to put them in the show notes as well, so you can swipe up and you can look in the description on YouTube, because I know it's helpful for some of you to be able to see them written out. So those will be in the show notes for you. And be gentle when yourself when you look at this. This is a major, major common money and success blocker, even love blocker. It really blocks abundance overall. And the great news is, as you continue to listen to the series I'm doing, you're going to see how we can unpack this and manage it. I'm not saying it goes away completely, but instead of it screaming at you, yelling at you, shouting at you, it's like a whisper. Like I said, I still get a zing when someone asks me how I'm doing, and if I say great, but I still say I'm doing great. And then the zing goes away now within, I would say, about 30 seconds. Whereas before, I wouldn't have been able to even get the word out. It's the whole progress, not perfection thing, but you're going to be able to manage it, and you'll see the direct correlation in managing it with the release and the diminishing of the resistance. And then the abundance flows, the opportunity flows. You'll be offered the job. You'll be offered the media opportunity. You'll be offered to be on a podcast. The lights will be green instead of red. They'll be green even instead of yellow. And it all starts opening up because we carry ourselves differently and we've removed that resistance. The resistance is clogging your abundance pipe. It is totally filled with sewage and debris and plastic water bottles. So even if we unclog it by 10%, you get 10% more abundance flowing in. That's incredible. And for a lot of you, having 10% at a time, 10% at a time, it has to be paced, because removing all the debris and all that abundance flowing at you, that could set you back into a spiral, into a trauma response. It'd be too much at once. And I'm one of those people. I welcome all the abundance, but I'm also trusting the pacing of the universe. And that's why I'll handle get to one level of visibility. And then I hit another, I can feel myself I'm hitting another visibility block. And then I work through that. It's being paced. That's why, like, this show, even though it's top 30 in the entire world, it took years to get here. Where there's other people I know who have shows who have gotten, millions and millions of downloads in 2 years, even in 1 year. They might not have needed to have that fear of visibility, the palette of being seen and exposed, because maybe they didn't have the childhood shit that I had. Maybe they have theirs, but it's not to that level of strength, and there's not complex trauma in there. So their nervous system can handle it and welcome it. So also trust that. But even if it's 5%, that's 5% more abundance. We'll take that, right? Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always. Can't wait for you to be along the ride for part 2 is coming in a couple of days. I'm doing something really special in there for you. And make sure you go leave a review right now. Put your name or Instagram or TikTok handle in the review on Apple Podcasts. Take a screenshot, email it to us, support@ProjectME with Tiffany. And then once the giveaway is over, we will be sending out my Work Less While Making More workbook experience to all of you for free. Or like I said, you can wait till it comes out and we charge you for it. But why would you do that when you can take 30 seconds and give back to the show? And then I can give you a beautiful gift of abundance in return that'll help you have the life that I know you so deeply desire and deserve. Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.